Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to you, wherever you may be on this wild, woolly, and wacky planet, which is drifting through space. And we're going to have a look at some stamps, which have also drifted around the globe. But today, we're going to look at a sort of isolated sort of nation, the DDR, which is East Germany, and three stamps in particular. I want to do is look at the stamps and maybe talk a little bit about the story, the design around the stamps. See if there's anything we can glean, anything we can learn. You'll be pleased to know that I'm able to speak. My sinuses are still pretty bad, but I'm getting there. I'm able to breathe and talk, mostly at the same time. So what's happened here is I've bought 100 plus stamps on eBay. They arrived. And I've selected three stamps this morning, those three, to have a look at. Remove these. And we'll start with this little beauty. First of all, what is the Deutsche Demokratische Republik? Well, that's East Germany for cash. So at the end of the Second World War, the Soviet Union took over, half of Germany, and it was split up between the Western Allies and the Soviets. So there was French zone, British zone, USA zone, and the Soviet zone, and that eventually turned into the DDR, the Democratic. They like irony, maybe. Maybe they've got a sense of humour, who knows. So what we've got here is one of their stamps. So I think the DDR, the Soviet controlled. It was actually Germany controlled, because Germany had their own communist or socialist party, as we'll see in a minute. What we will see is the fact that the DDR lasted from the end of the Second World War, say 46, up to the fall of the Berlin Wall, which is what, 91, something like that. Not sure about that. So don't take anything I say for granted. Do your own research. And eventually, sort of control was wrested back to the Germans, to the political institutions in Germany, run by Germans but overseen by the Soviet paymasters maybe. So we'll have a look at this stamp, 1971. 1961. 1961 stamp. So it's not mint by any means. It's not used. It's a bit battered, but it hasn't been through the post. And what do we see about it? It's got 25 on it, Deutsche Demokratische Republik, and we got a ship here. The ship turns out to be the SS Robert Koch, and he was a microbiologist, Robert Koch, and the ship was named for him, in honour of him. It was a German cargo and at one point it was a research vessel, but it had different uses throughout its life. Koch actually discovered the bacteria that caused TB. That's why he's pretty well known. And because he was born in the country, then they were rightly proud of his discovery back in the day. This stamp was issued on the 10th of April 1961. At that time, the ship was a deep-sea fishing vessel, and a processing ship as well. So they were catching fish and processing the fish and stuff. And the East Germans were issuing a series of stamps celebrating, or noting anyway, the fishing industry in Germany. Robert Koch himself, he lived from 1841 to 1910, and not only did he discover the bacteria around TB, but he also did fantastic work with cholera and anthrax. In fact, he won the Nobel Peace. He won the Nobel, not Peace Prize, the Nobel Prize for bacteriology in 1905. So, he was famous in his time. Possibly would be famous now. Yeah. Do we know anything else about him? I don't think so. He was born in a place which is now in Poland, but it was Germany then. Anyway, that's that stamp. We'll go to the next stamp, which is that me spitting all over the place? It is. Another 1961 stamp by coincidence, and this signifies the 15th anniversary of the Socialist Unity Party of Germany, the SED. So what do I mean by the SED? Well, it's a pure German party now. So it was an amalgamation in 1946, a merger, if you will, between the Communist Party and the SDP, the Socialist Democratic Party. And this stamp celebrates the 15th anniversary, 1961. The stamp was issued 20th of April 1961. What do we know? The party controlled, basically then was set up to control the Soviet-occupied zone. Its first minister was somebody called Wilhelm Pieck. He lived from 1876 to 1960. He was only in charge of the zone or the country of DDR and obviously the party for 1 year. He was the first and only president of the DDR, Wilhelm Pieck. And he was ousted after a year, and someone wore with an iron glove, an iron fist. He was he had a fairly interesting history, Pieck. And that was, well, first of all, he was also born in Poland, albeit it would be Germany then, and he fled Germany in 1933 because he was a communist. And he lived in the USSR during the war, but he was under suspicion, even he was particularly under even worse suspicion in the USSR because he was German, and he was under constant surveillance and supervision, him and his wife and his family. And then at the end of the war, he came back to Germany and he co-founded the SED, which is the Socialist Unity Party of Germany. So this is what this stamp is celebrating, though it doesn't necessarily celebrate Pieck. The three characters here are Marx, not one of the Marx brothers, it was Karl Marx, Engels, who I don't know anything about, and Lenin, which I think everybody's heard of. Yeah, so it's a nice stamp. It's, they like a good symbolism, and we'll see in a minute about symbols, but, it seems to have the people. We the people are here, socialism, and nice stamp. We'll move on to the next one. This also is unposted. So a lot of these, some have been through the mail, others haven't. Look at that. That's back. So we come to the last stamp for today. And what I'm looking at here is a 1973 stamp, 35. These were 20, 25, so we've got a bit of inflation going on here in East Germany. And it shows the Karl Marx monument in Karl-Marx-Stadt, as was, Karl-Marx-Stadt. The former name and the future name of Chemnitz, Chemnitz. It's a big old, tall old monument. 7.5. The 13. It stands on a box, which is 13 metres, and the head is 7.10 metres, so it's a big old monument. This stamp actually is part of a series of buildings in East Germany, so they were celebrating their buildings and their symbols as well. It was issued 23rd of January 1973. The monument actually was unveiled in 1971. Excuse me. So it's fairly modern. And to this day, it's still a popular place for tourists to go and visit. Excuse me. When it went back to the United Germany, they decided to keep this symbol, though a lot of the other East German symbols disappeared. The monument was designed by Lev Kerbel, who was a Russian, but he died just a few months later, though he was 71 years of age in 1971. Marx died, by the way, in 1883, aged 64, in London. Wow. So there we have it. So that's what I've got today. 3 random stamps with interesting information, if you like that sort of thing. It shows that times change, stamps change, but yeah, I think there's always something to learn when you pick up a random stamp. What I've done with these is first of all I've identified the stamp, and I've asked Google Lens to really identify it, and the AI then picks it up and tells me a little bit of information, not a lot, and then the more you ask, the more you receive. So ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find. Thanks for watching today. We'll do another video tomorrow. Try and do one every day. I hope you are keeping well. If you do videos, you keep posting. There's nothing I like better of a night or a morning than my favourite YouTubers coming on with their stamp videos. So much to see, so much to do, so much to learn. Thanks for watching and bye for now.